So, I hope it works. Let us get started. So, this is the first time I actually stream some live coding or my work in general. Normally I just streaming when I play some games. But today I wanted to, work and just comment some things about it. So let's look how it's working. I hope the settings are alright. Stream looks fine. I think this event list we don't need. So this is fine. Let's rearrange the stuff right here. Okay, so I think I'm fine with the settings for now. The stream should look fine. So just let us start. My goal for today is just, I wanted to craft a knife as it's written on the top. So our game is looking like that for right now. We can gather some branches right here. We can gather the stones right here. Also selecting and moving should work like we have it before. This is our storage. And this is our crafting table. Here we have the knife and I want to create that one. So that's the goal for today at least. To do that we need to store the resources which are needed. This is 2 branches and 3 stones. So we can already gather them and store them. We can see we have 2 we have 2 branches already stored, and yeah, it should already be updated. That I was written yesterday. So at this point we have the resources for that, and now what I want to do with that is if I click on it, it should be crafted by some people who is selected for the table. So what does that mean? That means if we click on the knife and no member is around here, it shouldn't be available like it is shown here. Then it shouldn't be clickable. It shouldn't be clickable if the resources are not enough for that. So we have to check if the resources are enough. And yeah, if we click it, the guy should start with the crafting at all. Yeah, so let's see what we have to do. I'm actually not sure at the moment because I have to find into my code. So this is the action pop-up. Yeah, I wanted to add a label right here, which should be right there. The item container is at least this size. Oh, we can do it a bit bigger. So this should be some hint label. Store more materials to craft. So this should be the first which is shown there. Okay, and then we have to do some scripting right here. In the action pop-up it's already selected. I have the action item. That's the disable color. And the gather item, there was it. So we take this both colors for now and just say Set materials. Okay, what do we need to achieve here? Okay, we have the item, and if we have enough of this item, it's available right here. Yeah, we could do something like so we could do it like that. So what I do is I just check the action item if all the stock is available we need for this item. And now we could do in the pop-up on stash changed, we update the quantity, and then we can do check availability. And on this function availability, we just go for child in child container. No, we can do it in the function already on stage. Oh, we can do it without an extra function. Available is false. Child available. Available is true if child not available. Available is like false. If available is like a red color, else normal color. And we need to define this text, of course. So we have something like error text so self-modulate and that. So if available, of course, that's the way around. So, and then we have the ready text, of course, here, and else we have the error text. So I hope this was done right. Let's check it out. So what I want to achieve with that code is, if we have it right here, it should have the store. Yeah, and we need to I think we need to execute this function one time at the start. Yeah, but still not working like I want to. What the fuck? Do I reach it right there? Should. Let's check the debugger. So available is on. Because we don't have any childs in this case. Ah, okay. I understand the problem. So this one is wrong. And we have to do something like self-modulate. right here on raw mode, and we want a red color right here. So let's check it again. Okay, why is it again white? What the fuck? Because on set materials it will be called. Okay, then I have to do another debugging. So we are on the child here. We have our child, which is the material, and the available is off. That's fine. So we jump to the next point. If not child available, available should be false, which is set. Step over. So it's not available, and it should show the error text. Ah, it's normal. Okay. Okay, that was very dumb. So the wrong color was just set there. So let's check. Now we have not enough materials. Store more materials to craft is shown right there. And now when we collect more items, what the fuck, where's he going? We store our branches and our stones. One stone still missing. We don't have the materials to craft, and now we bring it into it. And now we have click to craft like it should. Okay, unfortunately we couldn't click, but we need to build this one up. Also, what I just don't like at the moment is I think we want to have more space around. Okay. So what we need now is we want to click it. So we need some kind of click event on this item. This is the action item, which is just, damn it, it's not the scene. The scene is right here. This is the action item, which is just a placeholder right now. We can later use it, of course, for other stuff as well. For now, it's just some placeholder knife we show over there. And yeah, if we click it, we want to have a click effect right here in the action item. Yeah, I already passed that in yesterday, and I have commented some notes for today. So what we need to actually do is, if I click the item, we want to see if we have enough resources. We want to check if some people is around. So if there is no people at the crafting table, of course, then we can craft. We need someone over there. Yeah, and we should give some responses on kind of failed or on kind of, yeah, whatever. So one moment, the cat is scratching the door. Cats hate closed doors, so they always have to scratch them. So it's a bit silent. I want to have some music ongoing. Some background music would be fine, so I can concentrate a little bit better. I hope the sound at the stream is fine. So let us begin. We have an on-control event on click. If the action is pressed, our alt command is the the left mouse button, and that's what we want. So actually what I want to do right here is just to emit a signal which just says action item clicked, and we have to take over the checks to the actual window. So what we need here is a signal with action item clicked, and then we are back in the window where we have our action items right here, and then we have to item connect action item clicked. We want to handle that by ourselves, so it should be handled in the action window right here, and then we have just on action item clicked. Yeah, I want to make it a bit louder. So then we have an action item clicked right here. For that, of course, we need a function. I always like to pass it right here. Yeah, I deleted my commands. That's unfortunate. So right there. So this is what we have to do. But we could also do the check already in the item itself. Yeah, I would do that. So we could do something like, if we have the data right here, it's our recipe, and we could check if, yeah, we need some kind of, yeah, we could do something like that. We could do data is materials available storage stash else. Now I think we don't need the else block right here. So we just emit our signal for the action item clicked when the materials are available. To check that, we need to check if we have the materials, of course. So this is in our recipe. This is a recipe item. So I would add a function like that, and then we have this stash, storage stash. So now it's a bit complicated, because in the recipe we have the materials which are needed. And then we need to find out if the storage has enough of them. So what I would like to do is, for needed material in materials, where's the recipe? The recipe needs the material factory. Yeah, we set the quantity like that, so we have limited quantity. Okay. Okay, we actually just need to look if storage stash, this is the stash object which we have right here, and this has a function which gets the count by item name. So we could do something like get count by item name, and then we can give the needed material name, and then we get the count, and then we can check if the count is equal, greater or equal than the needed material quantity, and if so, fine. So what we would like to do is, if available is true, yeah, we could do something like that. We return available right here. We go for our needed materials and check if the storage stash count is greater than, greater equal the quantity we needed. No, we check if it's smaller, and then we can just say available is false, and we can break the whole for loop here and just return available. What that does is, if we have enough of them, it just returns the available, which is true. So then we have in our action item, the data is material available, and if so, we can emit the action is clicked. Then the window knows that the resources are available. The next thing we have to check is if if someone is around to craft it actually. Update items on selection change. Selected character. We have already this one here. So what we have is the selected character is our character, and we update the items for character. It's available that we are already doing, so we can here of course use the selected character, then we don't have to do something like that, and update items. So we can here, if selected character not equals null, crafting should start, else crafting can't start, no character available. So here we need actually a new function, I think, in character. This should be the character event. I hope it's not the collider. Then we can do something like craft over here. And in this case, we need to give some failed respawns. In the action window. Yeah, that we must do with an emitter, so crafting failed. So we do first the case which is not working. So in this case we click on the item and there's no character available, but we have the resources. Then we emit our signal crafting failed. This is thrown from our action window. And now we want to have it on our crafting table, because we have here the build action window. We add the items and we do something like action window, connect, crafting failed. We handle that by ourselves and we do on crafting failed. So what I would like to do here is repaired. Crafting table. Where is it? There. So this is our craft. No, this is the broken crafting table. Repaired. There must be a repair table. There. So this is our repair table. And we would like to show some failed message. I wanted to check how the stream is working. Yeah, so actually it's quite high to see, but everything seems fine so far. That's good. I'm not sure if I have actually some viewer here. But let's change that. Before we go on, I would like to get some people in the chat. So where do I actually get the stream? There. This is my stream URL. I'll check it if it's right. Yeah, it's right. So this is our streaming URL. So let us send out some tweets. And let's check out some stream first of that. So I'm trying out something new for today. Rainware live coding. Some hashtags, stream dev, gives you streaming dev or something like that. Streaming, indie dev, game dev. Should add the URL. I wanted to change the playlist. Where's this playlist? There. So we have some streaming playlist. Yeah. Too much tabs. So I wanted to make sure someone is reading it right here. Make sure to check it out. New for today. So we tweeted. So I think it's enough for today. I have to get used to the format and I don't want to have a rush here. I don't even think so, but who knows? So we have to check time, we have to select it. We have the progress bar, we have the status message container. I have to check something for the text right here. Show text, add child. Status message. If not visible and no children, return. That's it for this, yes. So we would like to copy that one. I absolutely need to abstract that one out in another function, but for now I just want to copy it over. So what we want to achieve is we want to have a control label, which is our status message container. So then we check if it has children. If not, we return the process. Get translation. Why can we take the translation right here? Okay. So we need the global transform. It should. In a mesh instance, object node, god damn it, where is it? The spatial global transform. Thought it should have a get function. Okay. Then we just take the global transform origin. So this we don't need. For child, we set the screen position, we set child position and a pause. So now we should be able to show some text right here. Then we should take over the show text function. We have a scrolling text, we need to instantiate, edit, show text. So now we can work on our crafting failed function. So this one should called if our crafting is failing, and then show a text hopefully. So I have not so much trust in this code, but let us check it out. I set some breakpoints. Then we can at least check if we reach this point. So the connect is set. That's fine for now. So we can craft it right there. That should be fine. So tension rises. Damn it. I can click it, but nothing happens. So let's check if we reach actually this point, and yeah, let's check this one. Okay, even the click is not processed here. That means that the whole input event is not reaching it right here. Have to check the control, focus mouse, stop. Maybe it's the wrong command. No, it should be the left button. It's the Alt command. So why is this one not working? Maybe because the picture is blocking it. Mouse, ignore. Okay. That's the problem. This was stop. So we take the event of the container and not of the control. So we have to connect that one and move the code over here. Remove that one, and now we should reach it. But we have to reapply it. So let's test another round. This one should now be catched. Here it is. So we get a breakpoint right here. But we don't have enough materials. That's fine. Let's store the items. There's another input event. So we click, we catch the event. We step over, we have enough materials, that's also fine. And the action item is clicked. We get the show text where we want it, and the crafting should fail. And we see also the crafting failed text. Here's another breakpoint, another breakpoint. Okay, it's called a bit often. That shouldn't be like that. But why? Okay, because of the breakpoints. So now if I try to craft it, we have now the text with every click shown over our table. It's also over our table if we scroll or if we zoom like that. Okay, the zooming I have to adjust. But okay, the problem is we don't have any guy in the near of the table, and that's why we can't craft it. So if we have someone around here, we go in a different direction and the code fails because we don't have the function craft at the moment. Yeah, that would be the next step to do, I think so. Because we now have the text that we have an error if we can't craft, and now we have the case where everything is working. Then we have our character who should start the craft, and we are able to create our first item in the game actually. So, how do we do it? That's a good question. So first of all, we need the craft function. I already started with that. And then I would say we would need another state to a craft state. So I think I don't have it yet. We have the idle state, the gather state, store state, move state, yeah. So we would have a craft state. And can we extend it from this? I think it could most likely extend from the store state. Because in the store state we do actually the same. More or less. Just let's go for a new state for the moment, and we look later if we can combine them. So we have the const for crafting time. I just set it to 5 seconds right now, because I think the crafting should take a bit more time. Then we need some kind of a crafting object. And of course we have some time spent already, which should be 0. Then we have our init function. There we just save the progress bar of the character to our state, and also we save the crafting object to our state. This is just the initialization here. Then we have the update function. There we get the entity, which is actually our character, and we have a delta time, but we will implement it later. Then we have the exit state. Also this we have to implement later, because we have to make some sorts about it. And we have the entity enter for now. So what we want to achieve now is we start the crafting, and we have to think about what our character is doing at this moment if he's entering this crafting state. So what we want to do is, I just show you that in game. So let us gather some stones and branches. So now we have enough materials. What we want to achieve is that we go with our character to the table. The red icon is showing that he is actually selected by the table, and now we should be able to craft with this character. If I now start, oh, I have collected 1 stone, 2 less. Yeah, we need 1 stone more. So now we have enough materials. What we want to achieve is, if we click on that one, the character should start to craft our item. With this in mind, that means he should do something like a crafting animation. He should get some kind of progress bar, like all these characters are getting if they doing something. And in the end, if he is finished with the crafting task, of course we need to generate this knife, and he should have it in the inventory. So that's everything what should happen while we do the crafting state. So I guess the enter state is most likely like the storing state. So what we need to do is we need to show up the progress bar, and we need something like to play the animation. I'm not sure. I think I don't have an animation for the crafting right now. We can check it out if we can do something. Oh, we can do the swing maybe. Well, swing is maybe not good enough. If we loop it, let's loop it and check. Oh, it's more an attacking throw actually. Also the swinging is an attacking, I think. But we can maybe use it for now as our crafting animation. What is the attack idle? No, that's not good. So attack swing is I think the best for me right now. So let's make something like global animations, craft, animation player, play, bake it, swing. So bake it swing should be in loop, that's right. So we have the animation here. We need to add the craft animation to our global animations. There it is. We add the craft. And then we go back to our state and we want to do play animation, global animations, craft. Not clear, craft. So what we now do in the enter state is we show our progress bar of the character. We do the crafting animation. Yes, that's fine actually. So what we can also copy over is we want to hide the progress bar as soon as we finished. So when the state is exited of our crafting, we want to hide the progress bar. Yeah, and then I guess we have only the update left. And as said, most of them is quite the same. So we don't have to check if it's full. We have to do something like craft time spent plus delta. What this does is we have our craft time spent, which is starting at 0. And with every update, we increase it by the delta time. And we want, of course, also set the progress bar. Progress. And that's our craft time spent. Divided by the crafting time we need completely, our 5 seconds, multiplied with 100. And if craft time spent is greater than crafting time we need, our crafting is finished. And we should give it the entity. So what we then need is another function, crafting finished. So, and to just test our code, we don't do the code for actual creating. For actually creating the knife, we just show a text that our crafting is finished, and then we can test if everything is working. Yeah, of course the entity is here. So back to our character and to our craft. Yeah, what we need to do is we need to switch the state to states, our craft state we programmed, and we give the progress bar. Yeah, and then we have to see how we get actually the craft item to it. There's just one bracket missing. Progress bar is not declined, of course. I should write it in the right way. Okay. So, let's test it. So when we go to the table and we have this. Haha, why is this working? Okay, there are some more bugs in it. Ah, why? Okay, first of all, I have to check out why this one is working. Why is this called? It actually shouldn't be called. Okay, we have the data here, and the materials we need is the 2 branches. It's the needed quantity, and we have the needed quantity of 3. In the storage, our stash is empty like it should. Ah, I think I have a clue. Is materials available? Yeah, it's not the quantity right here, it's the needed quantity. So, now with the needed quantity, there's nothing happen anymore. That's fine. So let's gather the materials we need. Two branches, 3 stones. Right now we store them. We now have enough. We click. Our breakpoint is executed. And the crafting is started. The timeline is not working correct. And the crafting is code like 10,000 times. It could be also a problem of the breakpoint. Oh, damn it. Hello, please let me out. So we have to check this one. Yeah, unfortunately, if I set the breakpoints, the program is on hold and all the events bubble up. So we have a lot of bubbling events. So let us check it now. We are starting. And it's finished, but it's also a lot more finished than it should. And I think it's because of the state. Because we have to switch back the entity state. Because otherwise you won't stay in the state. And we don't want that, of course. Because the state should be finished. Oh, it's a phone. Okay, wasn't for me. So we switch the state back to the idle state, of course. Then we shouldn't have the problem. So I just rerun it and test it out. But I think I'm really looking forward that it's working now. Oh, we need 3 stones, 2 wood. Let's get into the range. What's now happening? That's interesting. I never had that before. Now it's working. Serious. So we have our crafting and still it's not finishing. Why not? Ah. I should put it in the right function, of course. The exit is never called. Okay, and rerun it. Yeah, that's the life of developing. So trial and error the whole day. And always adjust your little mistakes and hope for the best. And another try. Ha! But now it's working. So actually we have now our crafting finished and we are going back to the idle state. What's now missing is I actually want to have the knife also in my inventory. So we need to think about how we generate the item. So this has to be done in the crafting finished. But before we can do that, we actually have to save the recipe object somewhere. So what I wanted to do is when I have the action item, we emit this signal with the data. So we could just give the data right here. Then we have the action window where we have the item on clicked right here. And this is our recipe. And then we can give the recipe to the character to craft, which that means if we have the craft, we here get a recipe for craft, and we can just give the recipe object to our state. Then we have the crafting object, which is actually a recipe. I think we can also do something like that. Or was it like that? Could not be found on base self. Ach, das kann er das mit Global nicht. Ah, this sucks. Okay, I can't strict type it here. I have to include it or something like that. Anyway, our crafting object is a recipe and we give it over there. So what we need to do is, let's think about it. So we have the recipe, which is shown our item. No, it's just shown the name, the material, the experience, the type. I have to check it. It's the knife. Okay, so what we don't have at the moment is we have the recipe, which defines how the knife is actually crafted with the materials and the name and the portrait. But what we don't have at the moment is an actual item which represents the knife once it's generated. So what we should add, so we need to generate this item somehow. But that's actually not the problem. Sorry. So we knew it's the knife. And we knew the type is the knife. Find in files. Item Okay, I think we can just generate it over there. Okay, let's go to the state. So we have to, the crafting is finished. We need to reduce the materials in our storage. Yeah, they should be reduced once the crafting is finished. We do it, of course, afterwards, so we can check at that point if the storage is having enough materials or not, because we have a multitasking game. There can, of course, be multiple crafting at the same time. So what I want to achieve, or what I want to have it in the game, is that we can start different tasks for the people. So we could have, for example, 3 people at the same time crafting, and once they are done with the crafting, we check if the storage has enough materials. If we don't have so, they would just do the task, and afterwards we get some error or some failure, which just saying you wasted your time, there is no materials left. And yeah, if there are enough materials, we generate the item and you get it in your inventory. With this approach, we have some kind of no reservating items. For example, if you, for example, reduce your materials when you start the crafting task, it would be also an idea or a way to go with it. But if you reduce it in front of that, you have to save them or reserve them in some way, because if you move the character around, the crafting will be cancelled, and in this case you have to reapply the materials to the storage or just lock them or something like that. And I think this is much more complicated than just doing all the logic once the crafting is finished, just checking if at this point we have enough materials, and if we haven't, it's just a failed task. And so the player has to keep an eye on his storage or on his items itself, and couldn't craft if there aren't enough materials. So he has to have an overview, and our logic comes a bit more easier for that. Yeah, so we reduce the materials in the end of the crafting task, and that should be done as one of the first steps, because we need to ensure that we have enough storage there. So with that said, I already see that we would need this storage. Because we need to check if we have the storage. That means we need the state. And also that we can do over the action window, because here we have, no, in the action item we have the storage. So we give it with the click. Then we have the window, we have the action item recipe, then we have the storage. Storage gets dash. We better give the whole object to it, then we can use the functions in it. So we get the storage right here, and we, wrong key, would also add the storage right there. That was wrong. So now we have the storage right here, and then we can look if we have enough materials. This is done easy. We have written a function for that. So we have if crafting object is materials available, we can give the storage. Pass else entity could show text crafting failed. So this one is but that is just checking if we have the materials. What we now actually want is to We don't want to have the crafting object is materials available. We want to have the storage spending. Yeah, we want to spend them. So we get spending and give them the crafting object. I have to look. Recipe. There. Get materials. So what we do here is we write a new function, which is the spending function. It should return true or false, which actually means our spending is successful, we have enough materials, or it's not successful. So we, as param, we give the materials which is needed for our recipe. And now we want to switch over to our stash. Or better said, yeah, stash is it. So this is the stash. And now we want to have the spending, and this is materials. For needed material in materials. We need to spend them. Yeah, this will be also interesting. I have to set a breakpoint right here because I'm not sure how the materials are look like. Yeah, so let's just check them out. Let's store this stuff. So our storage is full. We want to craft it. It's already looking quite good. Even if it's just placeholder things. So the spending is non-existing function. Okay, this is in mesh instance storage GD. Okay. Storage GD. Okay, it's the object. Then we have, of course, do something. Then we want to have the stash. Or better, let us change it in the action item. So we just give over the stash. And again, so I could maybe reduce the resources, then I wouldn't have to gather them always, but I like it so far. So my game is already covering the gathering and the storing, and that's with some selection is already working quite nice. So another craft task is started. We are in we are in the breakpoint, and our material is an array. We could go to the needed material, and it has just the quantity and the needed material. So we have in our inventory a remove function, but the remove function is just an item. So this this will be a bit complicated, this function. Because what we want to do is we want to remove every item, but we have to check if there is actually enough. Yeah, there should be enough items of them, because we can't spend them if there aren't enough in the storage. And we need to find the items. We can just remove the items, and for the item we need the right item to have the position in the area, and then we can remove it, which is then applied on it. So it's a bit complicated. So what we could do is, no, we need a quantity for it then. So we need for E in range, needed materials, needed quantity. So this is doing a for loop over the needed quantity, and then we need to, if has item, needed material, needed material. So what we dare check is if we have this item, the item name will be check. So if so, okay, so we make items to remove is an array. So we check if has item. If so, we need to get the item. But then we get always the same item. I said it is a bit complicated. So for stash item in, no, for stash item in stash, if item name equals, oh, god damn it, equals stash item name, return stash item. Else return null. So then we could do, something else. Get item, we have the item name. Okay, so we could do items. No, we need to save the item. So item is get item needed material. If item equals null, then we actually need to break this completely. Now then we can do return false, and that, yeah, we do need return false and nothing has happened, because at this point it means we don't have this item. So this is the first case, which is pretty simple, and the other case would be items to remove, would then append item. The problem with the quantity is now that we get with the another for loop, we would have the same item because I'm just checking the name, and when we would just add the same item and we won't get to the quantity we actually needed. And we couldn't remove it at this point. Because we don't know if we find anything. So if we don't find all of them and we would remove it, then we had an inconsistent inventory and just spent half of them without even getting the new object out of it. That's quite dumb. So how can we ensure that we get the items we want to have? I just take a new coffee, I think. I have to think about that. So I'm back in some minutes. So, I'm back with coffee and some cheese. So, still the same problem. How can we spend the materials? I think the best way would do a quantity. So get item dash item. Then we could do 4. No. 4 item. I think. So we just give the quantity to the get items. Then we have the 4 leap here. So range 4 stash items. No, this is also not working. Same with the count. So 4 stash item. Count plus. So now we should get all the items with the quantity or null. This should be fine. So get item, this is items. If items null, then we have false, otherwise we have pending. But this is an array then. But that's no problem because it's always an array. So let me check it. So we go over the needed materials. For every needed material we get our items out of the storage with the quantity. If we have the quantity enough, we get the items back as one item. If the items are null, we cancel the complete spending because the items were not enough. Yeah, that's right. Otherwise we append the items to remove and go on with the next material. So if we won't reach false, we don't have a return, and afterwards we are right here. So what we now should do, now we need to go over the array again and mark them to remove. Yeah, so afterwards, if we have done that, we go over the items to, no, for remove items, in items to remove. So now we have to be careful because we have always an array there, and then we have item, then we have to do mark remove item. Then all of them are marked, then return true. No, we don't have to mark them for the remove, we can actually remove them. Because we have the item there and then we have all of them there. Yeah, we have removed them. Then we have removed and we can return true. If we return true, we can now go back to our crafting state and we have now spent all our storage. And so if we are here, the crafting is finished. So let us test this one. So it should actually work if we have done it right, which can be tricky. So let us go there. We have enough, we craft, and hopefully we don't get errors. So we have the crafting finished and everything is updated and our storage isn't empty. We need to update the storage. Okay, we have a bug right here because this, yeah, okay, that's the problem. But we need to update the storage. I think this isn't done right now. Yeah, I have to check that one out. Anyway, so the crafting, we first stick to the first problem. The crafting is finished and the resources are spending. We get a crafting finished message, but what we now need is to create the crafted item, because we have now created the item, but we need to add them also to our character. So we have global item new crafted item is a new item. I have to check our item class. I think it's only the set name and the quantity, which is actually not needed because the quantity is always 1. Portrait is set by the name, so we just need to set the name actually. So we have crafted item set name And this is crafting object name. Search help, lower. Capitalize. To lower. So what we want is we want just to lower. So we have the name. Like that. I think the string function is used like that. So we have the crafted item right now. And now we need to add it to the inventory of the player. I have to check the gather state, because there it's already done. Gathering finished. If entity inventory is full. Also there's another there's another fail. It could be that you have created the inventory, the crafting item, but the inventory of the entity is full. And if this is happening, we shouldn't spending all the materials at first. So we should check in the crafting state. We could do that also in the enter state. Yeah, we would, that would be much better. So if we have in full inventory, we would do the inventory check right here and just send them back to idle state, because I think it would be kind of unfair if you would start your character to craft and then the inventory is full and then you spend the resources and everything is gone. So let us check this case quickly. So what we want to do is we have this one and we let him gather the inventory full. So we have the 3 stones, we bring them back. We have the 2 branches, we bring back. So now we have enough. We go to him here. Here's a full inventory. We now want to craft, and he's saying, okay, inventory is full, and we can craft with him. So that's quite nice, I think so. So he has to store the items first before he can craft. That's cool. So so what one is? So if the inventory is not full, we would like to inventory add, and then we want to this one. Okay, so everything we want to do actually is just here. Crafting finished. Show crafting finished. I just copy it over. Also, we should enter the state first. Crafting failed. Add crafted item. And then we have crafted item get name. So that's it. I think if we done everything correctly, we should now be able to craft our first item, which would mean I have just reached my daily goal for today. The daily target was just to craft it, and my usual work approach at the moment is just to set me one goal for the day and yeah, just work for it. That works kind of fine. So we crafted, the crafting is started, the crafting is finished, and nothing to see in the inventory. Fuck you. So what is going wrong here? crafted item set, entity inventory, add crafted item. Yeah, also the crafting finished was the problem here. Crafting finished, because we have two tags then. We just want to show the text. So inventory add on demand. So that's inventory. Inventory add is the item which is just appended, and the image which is just showing this signal. Okay, the problem could be that it doesn't found the item right now. Set item. We have to check that out. But wait. So let's first start it again. I actually love the debugger at Godot. It's so cool. You can just check everything out in the runtime. So this is so cool. I just go back now and I just set a breakpoint here because I want to see which texture is created. And now we craft our item. And if everything goes right, yeah, it goes. Our breakpoint is matching, and now we have the breakpoint here, and we see the name is knife. So he is searching for source assets UI, and he is searching for knife SVG. And there we have the problem, because my one is a PNG, and that's why we don't get an inventory item visible. So I'm not sure if we have some kind of function. Godot path. How do I check if a file exists? Okay, we could check if we have the SVG, and otherwise we do it with the PNG. Or we could convert the PNG to SVG. So that's up to myself, I think. Yeah, so let's do the file new. How was it? And then we have the file exists function. If file exists, else come on, let's see. Oh, there. It's an R missing. So I just do it some kind of hacky now. I have to think about a cool solution for the future, but that should work for now. Hopefully. So what we just do is we check if we have an SVG file, which is the case for all the branches and the flint stuff. And for the knife, where we just have in PNG, you should miss the check and then just take the PNG instead. So let us hope it's work. Yeah, so we have our knife in the inventory, and that's our daily target. We reached it and we made it. Cool. Was a lot of work actually today to get it done, and of course it's not that smooth, and then is some polishing needed. For example, I would like to have the crafting animation directed into the direction of the table. Also, it would be nice if the storage would be cleared out and updated. So cleared it is. You can see it right here because we don't have any materials anymore. So the logic for the clearing should be fine. But the problem is it isn't updated visible here. So we still have the things. Also, if I click here, we get an error and we drop out because it's the wrong item. So there's some stuff to do, but yeah, for today I have reached the goal I wanted to show and I wanted to share with you. I hope you liked the live stream so far and the format. So I would do it daily if there is the interest in it, because I actually like to command a little bit what I am doing and I have to work nevertheless, so I just can't stream it all day. So yeah, that's just my daily business and what I do. So please leave some comments or give me some feedback if you liked it. And I'm out for today and hopefully see you back tomorrow. Bye.